Welcome to Kayak Fishing Works. We're going to talk about an inexpensive LED light install on a TOPWATER PDL. Materials are around $50 to $60 using IP68 rated submersible lights, a wireless on and off, and the ability to change the colors remotely. This video will not cover how to wire and attach all devices, but it will give the basics of installation and ideas on different lighting and switching options. There will be links to materials used down in the description section below. You can purchase rolls of 12-volt RGB LED lighting online and cut it to length. A 16-foot roll of IP68 rated lighting can be had for around $25, and you only need about 5 feet for the exterior of the kayak. So plenty left over for other projects or if you need to repair a damaged section. I replaced the bow sections due to me physically damaging them over time by running my tie-down straps over the light strips when transporting the kayak. The lights still function, but the silicone casings were getting torn up. So when I replaced them, I only used 12-inch long sections so the straps would not have to run over the light strips anymore. Something to consider if you car top your kayak. Since these are RGB LEDs, they require 4 wires to each light strip. I used some telephone cable, which has held up great for the past year. Also, it's easier to solder your lengths of wire to the LED lighting before installing it in the kayak. But in this video, as I'm replacing the damaged front lights, the wiring was already in place and connected together inside the kayak. So it's a good idea to leave yourself some slack on the wiring inside the kayak in case you need to make a repair in the future. Slide a piece of heat shrink on the wire before stripping the ends and soldering to the LED. The light strips will have a red, green, black, and white lead, and RGBW will be printed on every area where you can cut the light strip and connect wiring to it, so it's easy to figure out where each wire attaches. I found it easier to use a soldering gun with a very small tip, and to tape the light strip to a board and solder one lead at a time. I didn't tin the leads or the wires as it caused the plastic covering on the wires to melt back too much. How I did the soldering was to put the soldering iron on a bare lead, apply some solder, press the wire into the solder ball, and keep the solder gun in place for a few seconds before removing the solder gun and letting it cool. Pretty sure I'm getting a good connection this way, as it's held up without issue for a year. Once the solder cools down and you check the light works, slide the heat shrink tubing partially over the end of the light strip and apply heat to shrink it. Use heat shrink tubing that has a glue inside of it so it creates a watertight seal. Also, attach another short piece of heat shrink to the free end of the light strip. The adhesive backing that most light strips come with does not hold well to the kayak. So use a piece of double-sided 3M VHB for very high bond and apply that to the kayak first. Be sure to clean the area of the kayak with some rubbing alcohol before you put the tape on. After attaching the light strip to the tape, run a stainless steel screw through the loose end of the heat shrink, allowing the head of the screw to also clamp down on the edge of the light strip. Marine goop works great to seal the ends of the light strip, covering the heat shrink and partially onto the end of the LED strip. Here's a very simple diagram of how I wired it up inside the kayak. If you want to save a little money or just keep the install as simple as possible, use a single color LED light strip instead of the RGBs, and this only requires 2 wires for each light strip, and you won't need an RGB controller. You can still attach a wireless remote switch if you want, but a simple mechanical switch would work as well. For the installation in this video, both a push button switch and a wireless switch were used. The push button overrides the wireless switch in case it fails. The wireless remote switch came with a water-resistant key fob, and it can switch up to 4 separate circuits. So say you want to install light strips inside the hull, another strip inside the cockpit. These could be switched on and off independently from the exterior lighting. I ran a wire bundle for each LED light strip back to a box and spliced all the separate wires together. These wires then tie into the LED controller, which can be operated by a smartphone. The device shown here with the exposed circuit board is a wireless on-off switch that's controlled by the key fob. Now, if you want to simplify the install, you can just use a single color LED light strip. These only require 2 wires per light strip, and they don't require the LED controller. Also, instead of using the wireless on-off switch, you could just stick with a mechanical on-off switch. So why use RGB lighting over single color LED? Well, I could try different colors for different situations. For example, green should attract bait fish, yellow should attract fewer bugs. The RGB controller has an app that works with a smartphone, so the lights can be dimmed and turned on and off with my phone. I haven't done as much night fishing this year as I thought I would, so I can't really say that I learned much on the color differences, but certainly am much more visible over just carrying a white 360 light. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and got something out of it you can use in your kayak. Please feel free to subscribe or hit the like button and leave any comments down below. Coming out next is a video on a trolling motor install for the PDL. Until then, hope you enjoy your time on the water.